Now, for our first panel discussion of today, I have a little riddle for you, dear audience. What do a company that produces sustainable sneakers, a consultancy for SAP solutions, and a media company that created a network which they call the Business Sisterhood have in common? Well, at the first glance, not that much, to be honest. But the answer is very, very easy. They all were founded by inspiring and innovative women. And now, I slowly make my way to our panel discussion stage now. We are going to put 3 female founders into the spotlight. So please, warm applause for our first female founder. Her name is Catherine Meuter. Catherine is the co-founder and CEO of Win. Actually, she started her career as a designer for many, many years in the footwear industry. And she worked for big names, like, for example, Giorgio Armani. Now, with Win, she fights for a more sustainable fashion industry and produces sneakers that, when they get broken, we all can easily repair at home. Our next guest is Sandra Völler. Big applause for Sandra Völler, please. Sandra is the CEO and founder of Agilita. Agilita is a consultancy that offers services in the SAP environment. Sandra and her team, which are actually, I believe, sitting here in first row, hello ladies, they help to transform the companies in Switzerland when it comes to everything digital. And believe me, when you think that SAP solutions are boring, they are not. Sandra says them with a lot of emotions and is super excited when she talks about it, and I even got excited when we talked about SAP. Last but definitely not least, I would like to welcome Sandra-Stella Triebl. Sandra-Stella Triebl, when I have to describe her, I would personally say that she is the queen of networking. And there we have a little problem with the microphone. Sandra-Stella Triebl is the queen of networking. She is a media entrepreneur, CEO, and publisher of the business magazine Ladies Drive. But in the Ladies Drive environment, we do not only have this business magazine. No, she offers many projects, like, for example, the Female Innovation Forum or the League of Leading Ladies, always with the aim to support women in business. Hello, ladies, and nice to have you here today.
Thank you.
Hi.
Thank you.
So let's start immediately, because we only have 13 minutes, and I have my timer there. Catherine, when I was reading your CV, and I imagined that you meet someone maybe from university times, and you tell them, I work at Giorgio Armani. They could believe, wow, this woman, she made it. She's on top of the fashion industry. But then you decided to found your own startup, which is called Win. What happened there? Can you explain that?
Yeah, well, actually, that was quite a time in between. Because I was with Armani in Milano for some years. Like, actually, 1 year after my studies, I nailed that job. Yes, that was an achievement, also for me, of course, personally. And actually, from that time when I left to Norway, where I was in a startup, actually, as well, for 5 years, building up a lifestyle brand there. That was like 7 years in between till I got to the point where I just decided I can't go on like that and just like produce so many products 4 times a year. It's incredible mass production out there, an enormous resources that are used for these productions, and I just couldn't go on in that rhythm as well and in that machine and cycles. And I just really, ask myself, why am I doing all this? And just like chasing trends and new colors. And I had a crisis, a personal crisis, actually, you could name it.
And now what is your solution with Win? What makes it more sustainable, your sneakers, compared to others?
So actually, we developed 3 years, so the R&D phase took quite a long time, which like when you are a designer in a company, you never have that time. It's like really 2 to 3 months R&D time, and I took my time for 3 years. And we developed a modular sneaker that you can take apart. So like the most vulnerable parts that you wear off, you can take apart and renew yourself. But it's not just a functionality piece, but also a style feature, because it comes in different colors and different editions, and it's actually a door into sustainability in a playful way, and not just like, oh, you shouldn't do this and that, and like not really with a fingerprint, but more, approaching it in a playful way.
I love that idea of giving your own personality to a sneaker as well. When we look into this round, I know that Sandra-Stella and you, Catherine, you have a very special connection actually, because this year Win won the Design Award from USM at the Female Innovation Forum. And the Female Innovation Forum, as I told you at the very beginning, is one of your projects, Sandra-Stella. I already told you she has many more projects going on. This is only one, and she is a media expert, a media business owner. But your love for the media world started way earlier, right? At the age of 15, is this correct?
Yes, I was very well known in the neighborhood for being a chatterbox. And one of our neighbors was the first chief editor of this first private radio station in Baden-Württemberg. And they asked my parents if they think that I could be kind of channeled a little bit, the chattering and the talking, and if I would be open to work for a radio station. And sure, so that's how I became a sports reporter at age 15. That's how everything started.
A sports reporter?
A sports reporter, yes.
For what kind of sports?
Football and handball. So
cool.
With FC Basel back then in Series B. So it's quite some time ago.
And then, some years later, together with your husband, you decided that you want to create Ladies Drive. What's the main idea, or how did it all start with Ladies Drive?
Well, the media industry, and it's still a fact today in 2023, but even more back then when we started in 2007, the media industry is a male-dominated field. Mm-hmm. The chief editors, mainly from economics paper, are men. Mm-hmm. The publishers are men. So that's not a bad thing at all. I mean, I love men. I'm married to a wonderful man since 23 years. That's not the point. But I think there is a lack on the market for a female point of view on things, a female point of view for politics, for economics. And it is a big lack out there. It doesn't exist, and we did not find any other country who had a business magazine for women. And that's how everything started. So because I had this past in the media, and I was working also for Swiss National TV for 10 years, etc. And I thought, why not create a platform for women, where women from all kinds of walks of life, from all kinds of industries, from all kinds of generations meet and share wisdom and help each other. I mean, men do that, at least it feels like they do that since centuries and since forever. And they're so good in that. And we can learn from them, to be honest. And that's how we kind of copy-pasted some male behavior and kind of put that into ladies' drive, in this world of ladies' drive, but also try to hear the women what their specific needs are regarding networking, becoming better, having a personal development, become the best version of yourself, having a positive impact in the world, making an impact per se in the first place, but also grow as a leader, right? As an entrepreneur, as a leader, as a manager. And that's how everything started.
I'm very happy that you mentioned this gender gap in media already. We're going to talk about this a little bit later. But first, let's talk about Sandra. Because what all of you have in common is that you were at a point in your life where you were not happy with the status quo, where you were working. And actually, Sandra, for Agilita, it was the same special situation. You have a background in business informatics, and if I'm correct, you were working there in a consultancy firm and decided with a business partner, no, we want to do our own thing. What happened there?
Actually, we were bought by a big, big company, and there was no fun anymore. There was a lot of Excel and a lot of politics, and we decided we want to have back fun, and we want to do the things that we love. And therefore, I said I want to go back to my customers, be close to them, be close to employees and all the things we are building together, and not filling up some Excel spreadsheets for someone in UK or US to help him to collect numbers.
Mm-hmm. And you told me in a conversation that we had before today that Agilita was growing rather slowly for a long time, and then suddenly there was a point where you had to hire a lot new people.
Yeah.
Of course, a situation like this, we know it from the business environment, brings challenges with it. What were the challenges that you were facing that time?
I think there were a few things that happened. So I was a really true believer in the cloud business. So we are doing ERP software, we are selling them, we are implementing this. And not a lot of people are still today believe that this could be a SaaS solution be delivered out of the cloud. I did start this 12 years ago, and I've also only men around me, and they were all laughing about me or to me or whatever you will call that. Mm-hmm. And but I'm a real believer that this is the only way for the future for companies to be agile, to be competitive in a global economy. So we started there, and there was a tipping point in the market. And therefore, at this point, it was just like we tripled the company. We're today 200 people. And that was really a boost that came because we started early and tried some new stuff no one wanted to try.
And this slowly growth is another thing that all of you have in common. Catherine, you founded Win before the COVID pandemic.
Yes.
And you already told us that you took your time to create a product that you really love. But then the pandemic hit and it slowed everything down even more. What were your experiences in this time that you want to share with us?
Actually, it was not just negative sides, because during that years I could like really take time also on development topics, on internal developments, personal issues, because it was not just like, oh, how to run this business as fast as possible. Because, you know, I came from a design background and the whole entrepreneurship was very new to me. I had to dive into and also see what's out there and what is out there to learn and improve and build actually this business. And that year back then was exactly for that. What was the biggest challenge is that we just couldn't travel anymore, so I couldn't go to my factories. Mm-hmm. I couldn't see my co-founder and partner in England, so we all of a sudden couldn't see each other anymore. That was a whole year of just locking down. And I was luckily in a program with Impact Hub, which was fantastic, but also there just meeting digitally was a challenge. And then, of course, on a commercial side, all the stores and partners were not willing to take on a new project because it was just like overwhelmed with their own products and they're trying to survive. So it was like really in a survival mode, everything. And that, of course, slowed down the commercialization, but it also gave room for personal reflection. And that was very helpful and very appreciated as well.
Thank you for sharing this. We all know it, always meeting online, this is no fun, to be honest, and not so inspiring. Well, Sandra-Stella, you have a very special story when it comes to taking your time as a business. You told me that it took you around 10 years, and actually there was a special person that told you, Sandra-Stella, you're just too early. You're on the right track, but you're just too early with your business
I know
idea.
that one.
You know that too? Yes, and this was a trend researcher. Right, so being a trendsetter is not that easy, we know that. Do you have any tips for more stamina if you want to be a trendsetter?
Oh my goodness, I don't think I ever chose to be a trendsetter. I felt just in love with that idea for my own business. I had the gut feeling, a strong intuition, this is going to work, but the universe didn't tell me it will take me 10 years until it will work. So sometimes you have just to pull through. I mean, trust your gut instincts, trust your intuition, and don't listen too much to others, because I think doubt killed so many brilliant ideas that failure never could. So I always thought back about that conversation we had with that futurist. So the futurist that she was talking about was the futurist of Audi back then, and we met her in 2007. She looked at the magazine, she flipped through the pages, she looked at me and it was like, oh my goodness, you're really early. I mean, womenomics, the female shift, will be reality one fine day, but you're a little bit early, but just pull through and never stop believing in your vision, in that idea. And we never did. We always thought, okay, we pull through. Another year, okay, another year. And all of a sudden, it works. But to be honest, we never founded the company because we wanted to exit plan. After 3 years, just scale it up, make a lot of money. It was never about making money. It was about creating impact for others, creating this business sisterhood where we help each other in a very meaningful way and in a well-meaning way, right? And I'm born 73, so that was not the case when I worked in the media. So the media industry is not well known for a well-meaning atmosphere, right? Everyone wants to be the famous one, the anchor man and the anchor woman. So it's not a very, how shall I put that, politically correct. So it's not a place where women or men in general really help each other, because everyone wants to be the face on camera, right? So, and before social media, that was even more the case. So that's why I tried to create a world, that's why we call it the Ladies Drive world, where I would love to live in and meet people and talk to people. I don't want to fight others. I don't want to have bad feelings. There is no room for hate or greed or envy in my life and in my heart. But it's a lot of room for well-meaning dialogues and conversations and a lot of love and great ideas. And we need to lift each other up and let each other thrive with that. And that really fills my heart with joy every morning. And that's the most important thing.
And ladies, if you have the chance to be one day part of this Ladies Drive world, take it, because I was, for example, at these events already, and it's amazing. All these inspiring women helping each other, great connections, like today, of course. Well, one way to push your startup and grow faster, if you want so, is searching for an investment. And I know from Catherine that actually with Win, you first wanted to do it all by yourself without an investor, but then was a turning point. How did that come?
Yeah, I had the imagination to grow organically, you know, just by myself, with my partner, with my team, and then I just realized that my product is sitting in the luxury segment, so it's premium luxury segment, and it just needed so much more drive and so much more fuel in the tank to actually really, bring it into the world, communicate, and also actually during these times in the pandemics where everything was just closed on a physical perspective, so people did not really leave. So you had to invest much more into digital communication, and we just couldn't catch up with commercializing and producing and selling and fueling the marketing at the same time. And then I realized it was probably a year ago, 1.5 years ago, that the only way to like really go forward and to give room and to that impact as well that I want to create is with an investment of people and companies. Yeah.
Well, this is one way to go, but Agilita, on the other hand, is privately owned, and you always wanted it to be like that. Why did you decide to take this path, and do you have any learnings, maybe also challenges, when you're privately held?
I think it's quite a decision. If you build a product and you need investments and you want to grow fast, you need someone that helps you, or at least you have some money in your pocket that helps you. And in our business, it's like if you do consulting and resell products, you grow step by step and be really careful with your money. Keep it with you and invest it in your own company, and then you can grow step by step and finance everything like you are able to handle it. That's our vision. So we started last year in Germany. That was 20 years after founding our company. That was not our goal, but the opportunity in the market. So therefore, we went for it, and I think it's always to think for yourself, what is your vision, like you said. Do you want a company for yourself, and do you want to leave something on this earth, or should there be something, or is it something like you want to invest and grow, go globally and go and get some money for it, or go and get and sell it? That's a totally different way, I think, of a vision of your company. And if you're a founder, I think you have to sort out with your co-founders very early, because if not, you got a mess.
That's an amazing tip. And I know that Sandra-Stella actually chose the same approach with Ladies Drive. And you actually said in an interview with Alex, I never had an investor and I don't regret it at all.
I don't regret it because my main goal was to be independent. And I always chose to be free. I always would choose freedom over money. And we have this company now for over 17 years, and 3 times in this period, someone approached us and told me, someone very wealthy, and said, I'm gonna buy Ladies Drive. And I was like, oh, really? You do? Okay. And he said, I want Ladies Drive, I want you in my pocket. And I was like, okay. And one of these guys was on the top 300 richest men in Switzerland list of the Bilanz. And he said, write down a number. I pay whatever you want. And when you're the first time in such a meeting, you think, yes, right? I have it. I just write down a silly number, 50 million something, I don't know. And let's see if he really is willing to pay that for me. And then like maybe 10 seconds or 15 seconds later, I was like freaking out because I thought, I lose my freedom, I lose my independency, and I value that greater than a lot of money on my bank account. And we said no. This was not an easy conversation with a very rich man. You say, I don't want your money. Thank you very much, but no thank you. So that was an ugly conversation. But anyway, it kind of strengthened me that I'm on the right path. And to be honest, I had a very big investor. And this investor was my husband. I mean, when we met, we're together since 23 years. We met when he was 21, I was 26. And when we met, he was a rock star. I mean, he had a major record label deal with Virgin and EMI.
Wow.
He toured all over Europe with big rock bands. He was all over the place, and then we had this idea for Ladies Drive, and then he says, okay, I don't have an album on the market right now, I don't have a tour right now, I will back you up a little bit. Now, fast forward, 17 years later, he's still there. So, I mean, he had the ego to kind of store his own career and put that away for me, because he wanted to see me shine, right, on a stage. And that's amazing. If you have a partner, and that's my main tip, number one, for all the women here in the room, be careful, you know the rest of the sentence, yeah? Just choose your partner wisely, that's what I'm going to say. I mean, that's true for men as well, right? I mean, if you have, sorry to say it like that, and excuse my French, if you have a bitch at home and she tells you all the like, I need new nails, I need a new handbag, now I need a ring and some bling bling, then as a man, it's not easy, huh? As well. But so choose your partner wisely, and if you're on an entrepreneurial journey, even more. And I think we all can relate to that.
Thank you so much. Investment, yes or no, it's a decision. There is no wrong or right. But as we have heard, really think about it. What is your aim in the end? What is your way and your purpose, as we already heard? Let's change a little bit the topic now. We already talked about it. Well, Sandra-Stella mentioned it. The title of this panel discussion is Female Founders in the Spotlight, and we all know it. If you have your own startup, you are some kind of also in the spotlight as a person yourself, not only the idea that you try to sell or market. And this is not always that easy, and we heard it. One way to be in the spotlight as a founder is, for example, media coverage. But a study from the University of Zurich has found out that between 2015 and 2020, women were only covered by 23%, and they were especially rarely mentioned as entrepreneurs or experts. 3 years later, the situation did not really change. We all know it. Sandra-Stella, you as a media entrepreneur, why do you think this is still the case?
Well, I told that before. It's a male-dominated field, and that's not really. It's a flaw of the system, right? It's not that men are mean, they don't like women, they don't want to do an interview with women. That's not at all the case. I mean, some of my best buddies are men, and they open a lot of doors business-wise for me throughout my career, right? That's not the point, but it's a systemic flaw. And the thing is that if you have a male chief editor and a male editorial team, and most business papers in Switzerland have only 1 or 2 women in their editorial team, then you have a male-dominated network. So if you're looking for an interview partner, the guys you call are men, right? And not a woman. That's a problem. So, and that's where the issue comes from. And I don't think we can kind of just say you have to flip that from one day to the other. We cannot. But on the other hand, that's why, I mean, this situation is good for us because it makes us even more important on the market. So good for us, lucky me.
And we can help to change this as women ourselves, slowly but steadily. Another situation where you put yourself in the spotlight as an entrepreneur is when you are searching for investors. Catherine, you had a very special situation when you were pitching. I think you weren't pregnant anymore, right? Or just not anymore pregnant?
Oh, I pitched through my whole pregnancy.
And there was...
I was just like, till the last weeks before I gave birth, I was just pitching all over the place.
So this is a very special situation. Do you have any tips when you have to put yourself in a spotlight and maybe you're not really feeling that good on that day, or you're pregnant, that's a special situation. Do you have any tips to share with us? How can you still do a good presentation of yourself?
I think it's what you also said, Stella. It's like when you really know where you're actually aiming to go. It doesn't matter if you have a big belly. It should not be really a topic or like an issue to discuss during a pitch. And actually no one really reacted on that either. Like people wished me good luck on a personal level, but then we were straight in a professional field, and it was never, I never felt that this was an obstacle anyway. It was just like really more the inner being convinced in yourself and just try to glow and shine and shine for your idea. That's everything really, like to enthuse the people around you, and you can only do that if you really truly feel it yourself. It's like otherwise we are.
And Sandra-Stella wants to add something, please.
Yeah, just because you mentioned pitching in pregnancy, I think the more you pretend that however you look like is the most normal thing to do, right? Don't make something special about it. Don't even mention it. Just be there and just do your job and present a good pitch. That's the best thing you can do. The more you make it a topic, the more people will talk about it, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't talk about it and pretend that's just normal, that's just how I am, that's the best version of me, just take it or leave it. That's the best thing you can do. But that needs a little bit of courage, right?
These are hands-on tips. Write them down. And Sandra, you are a total pro when it comes to media interviews. For example, you also mastered an appearance at 10 vor 10 in an interview, and you are also a coach for young women. What is your ultimate tip that you pass on to young women? How can they be more confident when they're standing in the spotlight?
Just be yourself. I think it's so important. I would wish there would be more women out there on these startup booths that believe in themselves and just go for their energy. It's not important if you're a woman or a man, but go for it and show yourself. Because there is no harm out there. Just show it and be there. And it's always a discussion, and women ask themselves so much more, is it right? Do I wear the right things? Am I have my hair in the right? It's not important at that point. It's so important to live and do what you love. And if you share your passion about something, you will go for it. And there is the place and there's the possibility. And I think what is the most important thing, and I want to tell all my girls all the time, you have a right to do both. You have a right to be a mom, you have the right to be a perfect businesswoman, but there is no perfection in all roles at the same time, ladies. So there's always a part where you have to say, okay, it's not 150%, let it be 100%, and it will be enough. And therefore, there is so much more to do, and I would wish there were so many more young women out there, and go for it, try it, because it's so much fun to be an entrepreneur, to do what you love, and to make it bigger and have an impact and show the world that so just go for it.
But on the other hand, we need to be honest. If I think back like 30 years, I'm 50 now. If I think back to my first experiences on stage, I was not as calm as today because my bank account is filled, I have success. And it's easier to be on a stage when you're successful than when you're a newbie. Right? If you just have created your own company and founded your own company, that's much more challenging. And sometimes it's so easy when we tell them, yeah, just be bold, yes, show yourself. And I can't realize so much how bad I felt and how much doubts I had back then. But we need to empower, ongoing support them and empower them, right?
I don't think that girls are like that anymore.
You don't think they're shy anymore?
They shouldn't be. And no, not the same amount, because they live in a different world. My two daughters are out there, and I always tell them, be straight and be strong, because
they had a wonderful role model with you as a mom.
Yeah, but there are a lot of women that can show it. And I really believe there is no difference in a young man or a young woman in doubt.
No, that's not. It's not a gender-specific
therefore, just
question.
go and try. There's nothing worse happen. There's no one bad out there that will tell you you're wrong on this stage, because there's more fear out there. No, go for it. If you don't try it, you won't feel it. So
you will never find out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you
that's the
so
thing.
much for making it a real panel discussion in the end. This was super inspiring as well. Ladies, it was a pleasure to talking to you. I learned a lot, and I hope you did too. So big applause for Sandra-Stella Triebl, Sandra Völler und Catherine Meuter. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Bye.